Conley with Benchmark Mortgage. I'm here with Jack Everson, the Republican candidate for mayor here in Chillicothe, Ohio. We're going to ask him a few questions about himself and what he sees for the city and let him give you some answers. And again, this will be on the Chillicothe, Ohio Facebook wall, so you can post questions there. I'm sure Jack checks out in there from time to time, and he can answer those if you have anything for him there. So we'll get started. So let's tell Chillicothe a little bit about yourself, Jack.
Well, I was raised here in Chillicothe from age 12 on and went to school at CHS. Played football and basketball there. I went to the branch up at Ohio University Chillicothe when I started my college career and played basketball up there and was on teams that were fortunate enough to win 2 state championships up there.
Wow.
And then I finished up my degree down in OU in Athens and got a bachelor's degree in physics.
Wow.
And after that, I went into the business world and started a Campbell Soup company, which I got to tell you, Campbell Soup is a great company. I eat Campbell Soup today. There's nothing wrong with it. I know how they keep their plant. I know how they take care of the product, and it was a great place to start off a career at. But I have a 31-year career in senior manufacturing management, and had worked for companies like Owens Corning and Cargotec, and had some opportunities to work both domestically and internationally, leading plants to improvement. And later on in my career, I started focusing on plants that were particularly in trouble and went in and fixed those plants up. So I have a long career in organization and getting processes straightened out and productivity picked up, quality improved, customer service improved, and bottom line profitability risen for the corporations I've worked for. Most recently, I've started my own company called Platinum Horizon Group. It's a consulting company taking the things that I've learned over my career, and I'm working with local companies now to help them improve, particularly in the Kenworth network of feeder companies.
Right.
As they're expanding out there, the supply companies have to keep up, and that's where I'm focused at right now. 2 years ago, I started taking an interest in maybe running for mayor, and I started going to council meetings, to all subcommittee meetings, and just trying to get in my mind how city government works and how maybe some of my skills would come into play to help that process out if I were to become elected as mayor. So we're here now, and the election's just about a month away.
Right, getting close.
I've got a pretty good plan going forward into what I do for the city.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. And what do you see that if you were to be elected mayor, what would be your greatest challenge that you'll face?
Well, I think everybody agrees that's the budget. And, you know, in times of reducing revenue coming into the city, we've been pretty particularly fortunate here in Chillicothe with a strong Kenworth, a strong Adina, the companies that are thriving right now in the midst of maybe what is coming as a double-dip recession. And so we're kind of shielded from what the rest of the country's facing right now in terms of job loss and unemployment and those type of things, even though it's still a problem in Chillicothe. But I think that the way the budget's set up, and I've got the opportunity to look back through the last 5 years of the budget and going back to 2007. And the budget is established the same way every year. Usually they have their account items that they need for each department. Typically, they ask for 10% increase, hoping for 5%.
Right.
And everything continues on as it is. And we're going to be handed a budget like that January 1st that this current administration is putting together. And that'll give us time to look inward into how the city works. And that's where I can bring my expertise of the last 30 years into play. People so often think of a change agent or an efficiency expert as a headhunter. And I was quoted in the paper, and this is what I said, that, you know, funding police and fire might come from cuts in other parts of the administration. Those aren't necessarily headcount cuts.
Right.
That's waste reduction cuts. And there's a big difference there. In my experience, I've gone into plants and I've taken a look in detail about how they do their job. Because in companies, the difference between success and failure isn't so much what to do, it's how you do it.
Right.
And I go clear to the bottom. I deal with the employees that are doing the jobs and work with them, talk to them, and they know things that they do every day that just simply don't make any sense.
Right.
But it's the way we've always done it.
Right.
I love hearing that.
Right.
If that's the best justification you can give for why you do something a certain way, it needs looked at.
Right, absolutely.
There's no other logical explanation.
Right, and I think everybody out there can relate to that. We all work
Everybody.
somewhere and we think, why are you doing that?
So,
Yeah,
my thing is, let's go in and talk about those things. I will interview every city employee that does every job. I mean, if you see me on the back of a garbage truck in jeans and a t-shirt, I'm finding out what they go through.
Right.
I've taken rides with police and fire all this year, and I think if you look at my Facebook page for here recently, I was on the squad run and went to the death of that 2-year-old child.
Right, I did see that on your
And
Facebook page.
I'll tell you what, you get a real taste of character when you see people in worst case scenarios.
Absolutely.
And we have a lot to be proud of there.
Absolutely.
But going back in and restructuring the jobs to take all the dumb stuff out
Right.
and just have them focus on things that count for people, to the satisfaction of the taxpayers. When
Right.
taxpayers sit there and they'll look at a task that a city employee does and says, you know what, I'll pay for that with my tax dollars.
Right.
But when you see 4 guys watering plants every morning in a truck and 2 of them are sleeping, and that's just not good utilization of manpower.
Correct. Right.
So the management part of the city administration leads into the budget, it leads into the cost. When you reduce the amount of steps in a person's day, you eliminate costs in that.
Right.
And those savings we can transfer into other areas where we need it for the maintenance of city streets, the housekeeping of the city. In all of my plants, starting out in Campbell Soup, I had plants where you could eat off the floor. And I've worked in steel fabrication plants and hot dip galvanized plants that were just a mess when I got there.
Right.
And the first order of business, let's get this cleaned up and organized. So people aren't walking all over the place looking for an article they need to do their job with.
Right.
It's right there within arm's reach, and it's in the most efficient place to use it at.
Right.
So putting those practices into play in the city jobs, we can take a lot of stress off of people and have them focus on what we need desperately here, which is customer service.
Right.
There are a lot of places in the city where we could be a lot more business friendly. And I've written a 1, 2, and 5-year business plan and outline for the city as a starter document to sit down with not only the department heads of the city, but also with other city leaders, businessmen, historic groups, just to get a consensus on where we're going as a city.
Right.
I think the boat's been rather rudderless here as of late, and there's no real goals in our mind as to what we want to accomplish with the city. So laying this out as a starter document, the mayor has to lead that effort. And I think I put together a pretty good program with that. I've rewritten all the job descriptions for the department heads, which really elevate the expectations. And we're going to sit down and find the methods to initiate those objectives.
Wow. Done a lot of work.
Yep. Well, like I said, I've been looking at this position for 2 years.
Right.
Almost 2 years.
Right. Well, and I think whoever wins, you're going to and I think that's what you were talking about, it's going to be lean. I mean, the city, and I think every government needs to get to that point in the double dip recession that we are about to go into that a lot of people don't want to acknowledge. I mean, we are going into a double dip. You know,
Exactly right.
I'm in a real estate business, so I see it.
My wife is too.
Right,
So,
and I see what's happening, and it's definitely, the media may not say it, but it's definitely coming.
Yes,
and
it is.
we're all going to have to learn personally and on a government level to be lean. I mean,
Well,
it's just,
the 2 main drivers of getting an economy out of a recession is housing and interest rate reduction.
right,
We're already at the bottom on interest rates,
absolutely,
and housing's in the toilet.
yeah,
So it's a case where we got to find some new alternatives and not just look at the city as it is today budget-wise, but look for what can come in a double-dip recession
right,
and how can we best shield ourselves from that.
right,
And getting lean in the city operations is really the last straw in doing that. And there's a certain technique to do that.
right,
And that's where 31 years comes into play, and I think I can lead that effort.
okay. Alright. So, as we all know, crime and drugs, you know, there was just something in the Gazette, you know, recently about that they're trying to restructure and look at those types of things, how they're going to solve that. It's a great concern for all the citizens of Chillicothe. How will you address that problem as mayor?
Well, the drug situation is, doing the right ones with the police department is out of hand for a city our size. And when you look at the manning, just going through the codified ordinances, which is one of the other things I studied during my 2-year research for this position, 1995, they set a head count for the police and the fire department, and that was 62 and 57 respectively. 62 in the police department, 57 for the fire department. And the fire department manning was not including any medics because they weren't doing squad runs back then. And they both currently have less than 50 people. So that was what the old standard, and how they do those head count calculations is they take a look at the population, square mileage area of the city, traffic patterns, and just all the things that go into play, number of homes, to calculate how many they think they need for police and fire. And the drug problem in the city is a new variable in that equation. That wasn't as heightened as we had a drug problem in 1995, but nothing like we have today. And unemployment drives that, depression drives that, that results in crime. People are stealing things to buy drugs, and we just don't have enough boots on the ground to effectively battle that. My hat's off to Chief Moore and to Chief Vaughn for the services that they provide, but they are very limited on resources, and we have to beef that up. So with what we do, what we save in other parts of the city through the reorganization and the leaning down of that, we can transfer dollars over to police and fire where we need it. Because the primary concern on everybody's mind in Chillicothe is they want to feel safe.
Right.
And the police and fire are those services that do that. And any talk of metropolitan police or fire squad with the county, they're spread thin too. Ross County is the largest per square mileage county in Ohio, and there's a lot of turf to cover. Right. And when you have just the limited amount that we have patrolling the streets right now, and some of the methods that they do, the paperwork reporting and things like that are really kind of outdated, and with a little technology could cut down on the time required to do that and keep people out on the streets. There's a lot of things that we could do with that, but for the situation that's handed to both of our chiefs, they're doing good jobs with that. Right. But we need more feet on the ground. Right. Okay.
And as mayor, what would you do to help create jobs?
Well, I started up 5 manufacturing plants in my career. And so from that aspect of it, being on the other side, I know what I'm looking for in a location to start up a plant. Infrastructure, business, just general business, support businesses that are there, tax structure, incentives, those kind of things are what draw businesses in. But it's not a game of where you just wait and see. You got to go out and, through a 5-year plan, do a needs analysis and a skill analysis of the workers that we have here. What are these people good at? What kind of jobs do we want to have here? And I think, we miss manufacturing jobs, and I think that sitting here and hoping for a windmill plant or a solar panel plant is, everybody's waiting for that. But what we need to do is take a look at the supply companies for those type of plants to help set up shop here. And we have to start that with the businesses that are already here. Right. We need to buy from each other locally.
Absolutely.
I mean, in the downtown area here, we have wonderful shops.
Absolutely.
We need to feed off ourselves. And that generates the revenue not only for these business people in town here, but it also generates revenue for the city to operate on. Right. And so that's going to be a main driver in my administration. I call my platform a new vision, and the restructuring of the city operation is the very first stage of that. That lays the foundation. Right. Job creation is a slow process. The companies dictate what they're looking for, and that's who makes the decision of where they end up at. And we have to be at our best game and presentable and clean and safe with good roads to kind of attract those kind of businesses to come to town. And it's, every plant I've started up, the site location was a primary consideration. It's just not a building, it's just not logistics. And we have wonderful logistics in Chillicothe. We have great aesthetics in Chillicothe. I mean, it's a beautiful place to live. People are friendly. People are willing to work. We're ready to go. I served as a steering committee person for Pickaway Ross's PET program several years ago, which was a pre-employment training program. And we designed a curriculum based that was 90 hours worth of coursework in quality, small hand tools, safety, forklift driving, just the soft skills that people need that would set them ahead of the normal applicant coming to a business and be plug and play a lot easier and a lot faster into the business. That was a very successful program. I was operations manager of Owens Corn in Nashville when we put that together, and I was one of the hiring plants in that.
Right.
And the caliber of person that came through the door just with that training versus those without the training was head and shoulders versus the one that didn't have it. So we need to work with our education system, OUC, Pickaway Ross, State College, Ohio Christian University. We have some good resources here. Shawnee State down the road that if we can tell them what we're looking for in terms of skills with our 1, 2, and 5-year plan and put in a graduated continuous kind of building process to provide those kind of services to get our workforce ready to go, the types of businesses we're looking for, we'll be a lot farther ahead, and that's a proactive move that companies like to see when they're picking a location site.
Okay, good. And how do you feel that social media, obviously this is the venue we're using for this in Rio, and community pages like Chillicothe, Ohio Facebook page could benefit the city government? How do you see them intertwining and maybe helping with that?
Well, social media is the future of communication. And
Absolutely.
whether it's Facebook, whether it's internet, whether it's Twitter, there are many ways to reach people that don't pick up a newspaper or watch TV. They can't stomach the news anymore, so but they have to get the word out. The city's website needs a brush up. There's some really outdated material on there. There's no maintenance to it. I think just the website for the city needs a fresh look, and it needs to be active, current. The last council minutes on there are May 9th, and so we're in October almost, and people need current information. You go to the city website and look up the codified ordinances, and they're lacking too. And so, you know, I think as we make the improvements in the city, the people need to be aware of those. And paper, that's just not newsworthy. They're not going to report that. So websites, Facebook page, Twitter accounts, those kind of things are really the future, and that's where we need to place new emphasis and just lay out our accomplishments, our goals, our challenges, and keep the people informed in a variety of venues to enhance that communication.
Okay. All right. So there you have it, guys. Those are the questions that I had for Jack today. I really appreciate him stopping in and giving us a few minutes. He's really busy right now, so we really appreciate you doing that. Again, it'll be on the Chillicothe, Ohio Facebook page. You can leave questions there for him. You also have a Facebook page, correct, for your campaign? What's that?
And I have a website, eversonformayor.com.
Okay. So you can always, catch up with him there. Are you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter.
Well, I'm Twitter. I'm not even a Twitter head. I'm pretty internet savvy.
For
so.
Old guy, I gotta keep up.
So you can catch him on Twitter. You can catch him on Facebook. Interact with both of our candidates. I mean, we've got two really good candidates this year. I think you guys need to really get involved, reach out to them. That's what they're here for. You're going to be at Rock the Vote on October 22nd over here at the Elks. That's a great place to catch up with them. They want to spend time with people, let you guys know what their agenda is and how they want to help the city. So make sure you stop out that day and check out what's going on there. So that's all we have for now. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. And we'll see you soon.
Thank you.